Hello there, I'm Barry Mitchell, and welcome once again to Simply Science. Today we're at the Hunters Point Park South in Long Island City. You know, surrounded by these tall buildings, we often forget that outside these steel canyons, we're surrounded by rivers and oceans full of marine life. A little later on, I'll introduce you to a marine biologist who's made some incredible discoveries. You ever hear of a flashlight fish? But first, a lot of people use the term addicted kind of loosely. Oh, I'm addicted to soda. Oh, I'm addicted to watching that show Game of Thrones. But what's the difference between something we love and maybe even crave and a true addiction? Anne Riddell did some research, and here's what she found.
Let's start with some cold, hard facts. I'm hooked on gummy fish. When these chewy little guppies are in the kitchen, I won't stop thinking about them until I grab a handful, or several. And apparently, I'm not alone.
Any candy, like maybe 5 times a week I have to eat some type of candy.
I am with you.
Yeah, I shouldn't though. It's not good for my braces.
Me, it's Gatorade and Gobstoppers. Gatorade keeps me hydrated and Gobstoppers, I don't know, it just keeps me going.
But there's a big difference between what may be a craving or even a bad habit and what is a true life-changing addiction. And that difference can be explained with science. Scott Ewing is pursuing a PhD in clinical psychology. He specializes in addiction research and teaches at Queens College.
All of these things act on a certain part of our brain called the reward system, the reward circuit. These are structures within the brain that become activated when we're doing something that we like. That can be food, sex, gambling, or it could be drugs of abuse. It serves a very important function for survival. If we didn't feel that rewards, that motivation for, say, food or sex, we might starve, we might not procreate. So things like food will activate that system a little bit. Drugs of abuse, it's like pedal to the metal. It will fully activate that system in a chemical, kind of a natural way.
As Scott explains, it's important to understand that the brain can change an addiction, to some degree rewiring itself to demand more of the substance or behavior. So when people truly suffer from addiction, simply stopping is not so easy.
On a very neurological, chemical level, these substances change the brain in ways that make it difficult and sometimes impossible to pull back. A lot of drugs of abuse and other things like gambling, sex, they can cause changes within the brain that make it much more appetizing, much more motivating to that person, and much more difficult for that person to abstain.
And the United States has a major public health challenge when it comes to alcohol and drug misuse, according to the Office of the Surgeon General, which says that recently more than 27 million people in the United States reported using illicit drugs or misusing prescription drugs. And nearly a quarter of adults and adolescents reported binge drinking in the past month. Also, the annual economic impact of substance misuse is estimated to be $249 billion for alcohol misuse and $193 billion for illicit drug use.
There is a lot of stigma, a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to people that have an addiction when viewed by people that have never been addicted to a substance or an activity.
So, back to where we started with my regular candy fix. Is it an addiction in any sense of the word? Not so much. More like a hard-to-break habit. Actual addiction is something else entirely. And from Scott's perspective, we could use more compassion when confronting it.
Those that might be suffering from addiction, it's just not as easy as saying, oh, just stop. It's harder than that.
I'm Anne Riddell for Simply Science.
Keto diet is the latest diet craze. And the key to finding out more about it, our Susan Jhun.
The ketogenic diet.
Ketogenic diet.
The ketogenic diet.
The keto diet.
It's the newest diet craze that's all the rage.
I got into the best shape of my life with the diet.
There's no question that the keto diet is popular, but does it really work? We'll start by taking a look at how it works. The key to keto is burning fats instead of sugars.
The ketogenic diet is when the body uses fat as fuel instead of glucose. So to obtain that, one must starve their body from carbohydrates and limit it to no more than 50 grams of carbs per day.
Former CUNY professor and nutritionist Lorraine Kearney says the high-fat, low-carb eating plan puts the body into a metabolic state of ketosis, when the body begins to burn fat for energy because it doesn't have enough carbohydrates to burn. During ketosis, the liver produces a type of acid called ketones, which is released in urine and indicates that fat is being burned instead of glucose. The ketogenic or keto diet strives to induce ketosis in order to burn more fat.
I was able to lose weight really fast. I got the results I wanted. Like, I got really lean. I was like those guys in those pictures.
Amateur bodybuilder Scarlem Veloce tried keto for 3 months and says at first he experienced what's known as keto flu, where the body mimics the symptoms of the flu while adjusting to a diet lacking in carbs. But once those symptoms went away, Veloce says the diet worked like a charm, allowing him to indulge in all the bacon and fat he wanted while losing weight. But ultimately, Veloce says it was impossible to sustain.
I was just feeling like a zombie. I couldn't even walk well. I was just so dizzy outside. I felt like I was missing something. I was like, wow, my body's not functioning the same.
And the natural fruits and veggies Veloce loved to eat were forbidden carbs.
But one of the things that the keto diet does is deprive yourself from eating things like bananas, apples, oranges.
Or you're only going to see results for as long as you're doing that diet. A lot of people who do the ketogenic diet, it's that quick fix. I'll do it for 2-3 months, and then they stop because life gets in the way. Maybe it's kids, work, stress, and then old eating habits come in.
And for some, Kearney says the diet can actually be harmful.
The ketogenic diet can be dangerous for some people, especially for people who are diabetic. So when you are using ketones as fuel, the body doesn't produce as much insulin. So then when there's not enough insulin in the blood, it can cause an imbalance of electrolytes as well. If the body is in a state of ketosis, it can turn into ketoacidosis. Then there's a buildup of acidity in the body and can affect our heart health and may even cause death.
Kearney says all diets, including the keto diet, are a form of the Atkins diet, which limits carbs and is not only hard to sustain, but may lead to a vicious cycle of deprivation and indulgence.
And there's cake that comes around, right? And it's like, no, I can't have it, I'm on a diet. That leads to thoughts and feelings of being deprived. So when you do go to eat that piece of cake, you may find that you're having 2 slices of cake or 3 slices of cake. And then you're back to square one, you have that guilt, you're like, why did I eat all this food? And you start to feel deprived. And it creates an unhealthy relationship with food.
Which is why Kearney says the key to a healthy diet is understanding the way you relate to food.
To understand the hows and the whys behind your eating. That is where you get the long-term results. That is when you don't even have to use the word diet. It's clean, good foods, whole foods, and there's the right ratio of carbs to fats to protein.
Balance, which may be the way to win the battle of the bulge. For Simply Science, I'm Susan Jhun.
I had 2 pieces of cake for breakfast. How come I feel strange? Is it true that food can affect your mood? Here's Mike Gilliam.
Meet Lisa Sasson. She's a registered dietitian and on the clinical faculty in New York University's Department of Nutrition and Food Studies. Sasson says the goal is to jumpstart the day with a proper breakfast.
Having a very sugary breakfast, a lot of added sugars, pastries, sweets. That can really bring your blood levels down and make you feel sluggish after a while because there's so much sugar, and all that sugar rush then goes right into your cells and it keeps you at a very low sugar level in your blood, and you kind of feel hungry and you don't really feel that alert. Let's change that breakfast. Let's have coffee and let's have whole wheat toast with a smear of peanut butter and have a piece of fruit, and all of a sudden you feel more energetic, you feel more alert because you have healthy fats, healthy carbohydrates, and and protein, and your blood sugar level is going to stabilize.
And even though she included coffee in her breakfast menu, Sasson says, watch the caffeine intake.
The problem is if you drink too much coffee. Because of caffeine, it can make you feel really jittery and nervous, and that could affect your mood.
There are other dietary changes you can make to improve how you feel, including getting some omega-3 fatty acids into your regimen. Some studies say there may be a link in how some people who suffer from clinical depression process omega-3s.
Omega-3 is really important. The research is really linked to depression, clinical depression. But people should still be getting good sources of omega-3 fatty acids in their diet because there may be a link with mood.
Now you can find those omega-3s in nuts like walnuts, flaxseed, fish like sardines, and some green vegetables. We hear a lot about adding vitamin B to our diets, but Sasson says for the vast majority of us, that's not necessary because it's added in so many processed foods like bread and cereal. And on the subject of cereals, she says keep the kids off the brightly colored products at the store.
You shouldn't be eating foods that's neon green and shocking pink. Have lots of colorful fruits and vegetables. That's where a lot of the different vitamins and minerals are. Make sure you have balanced meals that have a good source of healthy carbohydrates like oatmeal or whole grains, brown rice. These are really healthy carbohydrates, and good sources of healthy protein, which could include fish, beans like hummus, eggs, peanut butter, and healthy fats, avocado, olive oil, nuts. These are all healthy fats. By having a balance of all these different nutrients, you're going to feel good, your blood sugar level is going to be stable, and you're going to feel better.
So the bottom line is the decisions you make about what you eat or put into your tank over the course of the day could have a major impact on how you feel and your mood overall.
I'm Mike Gilliam for Simply Science.
David Gruber is a National Geographic explorer and professor of biology and environmental sciences at Baruch College. I met up with Dr. Gruber at his lab and we talked about his travels in the kingdom under the sea.
I was always interested in animals. I was always interested in life and all facets of life. I love the fact that it's these animals in the ocean, these incredibly primitive, prehistoric animals that actually have secrets that help us better understand our brain, our consciousness, and fight diseases.
Meet New Jersey native Dr. David Gruber. He's a presidential professor of biology and environmental sciences at Baruch College. He's also a National Geographic explorer, marine biologist, inventor, and adventurer.
Really, it was a raw fascination with the energy of the ocean and the mysteries that reside there.
Mysteries like why many deep-sea creatures glow in the dark.
Below 700 meters, there is no sunlight. This area, bioluminescence is the main form of communication. Animals are blinking. They're like, hey, I'm over here.
Bioluminescence refers to animals that give off their own light, like fireflies. They actually produce their own photons. This jellyfish is an example of bioluminescence. So is one of David's more recent discoveries, flashlight fish, who use their glowing light to coordinate their schooling together. Then there are fluorescent animals who take existing light and convert it to another color, like this rare fluorescent sea turtle. And this cat shark that turns blue light into a glowing neon green that only other sharks can see.
Bioluminescence is being used in cancer research by lighting up cells. So for instance, you could put a bioluminescent gene on a cancer gene and you could watch that gene grow. Essentially, you could watch the tumor metastasize, and then you can actually see what kind of drugs you're trying on this. And it will allow you to, since you're lighting up the tumor, you could then notice, okay, this drug is shrinking the tumor.
And this is in practice now?
Yeah, this is wildly in practice. So we are off the coast of Fernando de Noronha, Brazil, and we are at a depth of 630 meters. We're here testing out our squishy robot arm.
Dr. Gruber is part of a team that developed a more humane way of sampling marine life using soft robotics.
It's our philosophy that can we use technology to be gentle? Can we use technology to connect us to nature? Our first project was squishy robot fingers, and we designed a soft set, and we brought this down to the Red Sea, and we just showed that it works. Inside the submarine, we'll wear a glove, and the squishy robot arm will do what the hand is doing. The idea of this squishy robot arm is to come up with a delicate way to interact with deep marine life.
Yes, well done.
And the latest development from Dr. Gruber and his team, a robotic arm with noodle-like fingers that gently cradles really delicate marine life, such as jellyfish. They can then be studied, swabbed, and released without harm.
I never thought I would be working alongside some of the top roboticists, some of the top neuroscientists. It's this idea that everything's connected. All life is connected.
Barry Mitchell for Simply Science. We eat a lot of fish, so much in fact that demand is exceeding supply. That's called unsustainability. How do we produce more fish in a healthful manner? We sent our Andrew Falzon to the Kona coast of Hawaii to file this story about aquaculture, fish farming.
This is abalone, one of the ocean's greatest delicacies, plated and ready to serve at one of the world's most exclusive restaurants. But what makes this plate truly special is that it began on an abalone farm almost 5,000 miles away from New York City, using a recipe that was 1 part conservation and 2 parts science.
Abalone do live in the wild. They're a cold water animal, but they've been over-harvested.
And that's why biologists like Ashley Van Yetzer are farming these ocean oddities at Big Island Abalone, located on the Kona coast in Hawaii. In 2015, more than 135,000 tons of abalone were consumed worldwide. In the past, nearly all of the world's abalone was fished, but in the last 50 years, that's changed significantly because wild populations were over-harvested.
So to preserve them as a species, there are farms like ours around the world who have been raising them primarily for the dinner plate.
Abalone are sea snails, known for their flat, iridescent shells. Demand is high, supply is low. That makes it a pricey delicacy around the world. In the 1920s, it would have cost you $28 a pound in today's money. Now, how about $125 a pound? And in most places around the world, almost all abalone are illegal to harvest.
If we can ease up on collecting, they can get a chance to rest and even begin to repair some of their populations.
But raising abalone takes a lot of specialized resources. The sea snails eat about 10% of their body weight in algae each day. They prefer the red kind, and so Big Island farms that too. But perhaps the most important ingredient is the water.
So our farm alone houses around 4 million sale-ready abalone, and that's going to use about 150,000 gallons of water a minute.
And while the warm waters off the coast of Hawaii are great for tourists, it's not good for abalone, which prefer cold water. But Big Island shares its water source with a neighboring clean electrical generator that uses very deep water.
They ran these magnificent pipelines out from this point out to the ocean, ranging from 100 feet to 2,000 feet below. And the temperature differential was allowing us to tap into the temperatures we need for the abalone.
Even though the water off Kona is considered pristine, Big Island abalone devotes a lot of resources to filtration. The farm is like a curated ecosystem, constantly trying to cut down the 3-year farm-to-market growth cycle while still maintaining quality.
We've already accelerated the time from they're born to the time they settle and start eating. We've taken it from 21 days down to about 8 days. But of course, optimizing their feed and their nutrients, keeping their water at a consistent temperature, that's all going to allow them and give them advantage to grow faster.
And growing them faster gets them to market faster to places as far away as New York. Big Island's abalone are almost always on the menu at Per Se, located in Columbus Circle, but known worldwide for its 3 Michelin stars. Abalone are so expensive, they're so precious. What is it about them culinarily that makes them such a delicacy?
Well, what is it, right? It's a gastropod, it's a sea snail, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be like, oh, sea snail, right? Is that weird, right? Sure. But I think that's what makes delicacies, right? It's the oddness of it.
Like the abalone he serves, Chef Corey Chow also got his culinary start in Hawaii. He's now chef de cuisine at Per Se, responsible for every plate that leaves the kitchen. But I had the privilege of dining with Chef in the kitchen. Chef Corey prepared a confit Hawaiian abalone with cream Japanese black scallions, black truffle, and lovage mousseline.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
It's really tender,
I
right?
can't believe how tender it is because I've had it prepared before grilled and it was very rubbery, as you would imagine.
Yeah.
But this is it's so soft.
Chef always has a philosophy of, 1, knowing where your food comes from, and 2, supporting the guys that really take the time to take the care for the product and where the product is coming from. So this abalone is very special because of where it's farmed, and the farm itself just takes care of how to treat the product.
I'm Andrew Falzon for Simply Science on CUNY TV.
Old MacDonald might have had geese on his farm, but they're becoming a real nuisance on Governor's Island. So we sent our Simply Science intern, Eunice Adekoya, on a wild goose chase.
Governor's Island is known for being a tourist attraction and an escape from the busy New York City streets. But the island is facing a threat: Canadian geese. The working dogs of Governor's Island have come to the rescue. Meet Max, Quinn, Chip, and Aspen.
We have 4 dogs currently. So Max is our oldest, he's our veteran, he's 9 years old. And we realized that we needed an additional dog to supplement his work, so we got Quinn. Quinn is 3 years old now. We have Chip, who's almost 2 years old, and Aspen, who's just 1 year old. So they are growing as a team and working as a pack.
Max, right here, sit down, sit down.
Molly McGinnis works closely with the working dogs on Governor's Island and is also the Director of Operations Planning and Sustainability.
And I also am in charge of our dog program, which is to help keep geese away from the island in a sustainable way.
The geese problem on the island has been an issue since the park opened to the public in 2014.
Canada geese can eat 4 pounds of plant material each day, and then they also poop out 1 pound of material every day. So having a population of 100 geese on the island can lead to a huge mess, and it also does a lot of damage to our landscapes. They also eat all of our turf and our grass and different plants, and they can spread invasive species from other places. So they can eat something at another park, fly to here, and actually spread those seeds to our landscapes on the island. So it's a really great ecological benefit to keep the geese off the island as well.
The wild goose chase has been going on for a while and has been a trial and error process.
So originally we tried all kinds of methods to keep the geese away, and they weren't very effective. We tried RC cars, we tried strobe lights, we tried flags and other things that kind of block their point of view. But really one of the only things that's worked is having the consistent dog presence on the island.
These aren't just any dogs. Quinn, Chip, and Max are border collies, well known for their herding techniques. Aspen, the newest member of the crew, is a mini Australian Shepherd, a breed that's known to have similar herding tendencies.
Max was brought out here first. He was really effective because he was previously a farm dog and a sheep herding dog. He's really great with a lot of commands. He knows which way to go left and right. He's really great at stopping. He will never actually catch the geese, and even if he does, he doesn't have the instinct to kind of attack the birds at all. So they're a really great species to have doing this job.
Go, Max, go, go.
They create this really great kind of oval around the geese fly away, and they're really effective at doing their job.
But for the dogs, this is work, and they're treated as employees of the trust.
So they do get vacations, they get breaks, they get to go home some nights and spend time with their actual families, but they know that when they're on the island, it's really because they're here to work and help keep the island geese free.
This way, Max, come on.
For Simply Science, I'm Eunice Adekoya.
And that's our show. As always, if you want more information, you can reach us at tv.cuny.edu and on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Barry Mitchell. See you next time on Simply Science. I missed my boat. Bye.